Hey all, Scott here, and I can't wait to finally head to this game control issues meeting I found out about. I misread that pretty bad. Whoa, my hands are doing this, and it wouldn't be possible with the Overclock Messiah of video games, the controller. The pathway between you and the world within the screen. A game controller needs to house all the necessary input methods for games in its era, while also being incredibly transparent. It's best when it just melts into your hands and you don't have to think about where the B button is. It's just a second nature. However, the road to where this has been is a rocky one, and we've gone from this to even this. And that road started way early on. Video games need to be controllable to be considered games. So even back in the early days of scientists pissing around and making games on supercomputers instead of curing diseases, they've had to create ways to play the games. Like when they tried a true knob and button combo used for Tennis for Two in 1958. When the arcade machines hit the scene, developers had to design the controllers for each of their games. Thus, the imagination wasn't compromised to limited control methods. They could create whatever control method would suit their game best. Joysticks, trackballs, knobs, buttons, steering wheels. Each arcade machine was different from the last in terms of controls. So when home video game consoles were in development, there was definitely a hurdle to overcome. Developers were used to having a free range with how to control their games in the arcade. How do you create a controller that can be a jack of all trades, one that can work with all, or at the very least, a lot of video games released at the time? Atari said screw it and gave us a button and a stick. The Atari 2600 was their first major success in terms of video game home consoles, and with interchangeable cartridges. The first game controller ever. 1970s Manifold Odyssey shared a controller, alright. Fairchild Channel F predated the 2600 by a year, releasing in 1976, and has you holding a Snickers bar to control games. But the Atari 2600 joystick was definitely what the general public sees as the first game controller, and definitely one of the most iconic. While its simplicity made games harder to convert to the system, it's undeniable it played a key role in its success. No matter who you are, you look at this thing and say, yeah, that makes sense. How could you possibly screw this up? It's a giant red button and a rod. Anyway, who knows what that's about? When you look back at video game successes in the early days, it's apparent that success came with controls that were easy to understand for the general consumer to understand. The 2600 controller was just that. Nevertheless, the thing was a no-go nowadays. It's sticking to go see the doctor. It's just too stiff. And the overall size of the controller is a problem for me, at least. It's too small to comfortably hold the joystick with one hand and the rest of the controller with the other. It's too big to comfortably hold it like a modern controller. Although today the 2600 controllers were right for what it was, it's completely unusable by anybody. Just nothing you jump at the chance to use. After the 2600 controllers went through this ugly phase for a while, it was all because a controller designer went home for Luke and looked at his phone and said, I'm drunk. Why? Alright, that's it. I'm done.